Welcome to Home Means Carson, everyone. I'm Ken Farley.
I'm Garrett Lepire.
So what we're going to talk about today, everyone, is, and it's a really important part of the entire real estate transaction, is the contract. And we've got some elements that we're going to talk about with that contract that are extremely important. So Garrett, what are we going to talk about first?
So the first main point, and Ken's exactly right, the contract is the Bible of the transaction. Everything that's going to happen is lined out in that contract. So the first thing is the appraisal contingency. So what happens if you are in contract to buy a house for $400,000 and it appraises for $390,000? What's going to happen is that contract becomes null and void, and we're going to have to go back and renegotiate. So we go to the seller and say, hey, sell it to us for $390,000 and we'll move forward. But what happens if the appraisal comes in at, say, $410,000?
That's a very good point, and if you're the buyer, that's a great opportunity for you. So actually nothing happens.
Yep.
You just sit back and enjoy that extra equity in your home.
That's exactly right. The second thing we want to talk about is contingencies, and that is when you're selling a house and you're going to go buy a house. Which is a really popular thing that's happening right now. Most of these sales are people that are selling something to buy something. How does that work?
Well, it's actually really complicated, which is one of the reasons why you need a real estate professional in the most case if you haven't done it before, because there's a lot of little intricacies in that type of a contract. And one of the main things that you really need to understand, if you're looking to move and you're looking to buy a home, the first thing you want to do is put your home on the market first.
No doubt about it. So what you don't want to have happen is go out there and look for a new home, find the one that you love, and not be able to get it into contract because your house wasn't on the market or in escrow, preferably. So the first step when you say, okay, I'm gonna sell this and buy something, get that house on the market first. It's going to give you more leverage and allow you to have a little more negotiating power when you go find that house that's going to work for you.
You know, Garrett, one of the things that I like to make a point of in that situation that you just explained, if you go out and you find that dream home and you got to run home and get your house ready and you want to sell that house really quick, there's a really good chance you're going to leave some money on the table in that case.
Yep, no doubt about it. At that point, you're racing the clock. So, you know, if homes are selling for $325,000, you're going to have to list it for $320,000 or $315,000 just to get things moving quicker than they normally would. The last thing we're going to talk about is inspections and due diligence. So what happens when I'm in contract to buy a house? How do I know that I'm not buying a limit?
Well, one of the major things that you do when you're purchasing a house is have a home inspection. You can have what we call HVAC inspection also, and a pest inspection. And the reason why we do those is what you just said. You want to avoid the major issues. It's not for, oh, I want this doorknob fixed. It's the major issues in your house. If something has happened with that house that either you need fixed or it's going to make you say, I don't even want to touch this house, that's what you're looking for in those home inspections, and there's a built-in period up front in that contract for that.
That's exactly right. Now, and the main point about that is you can't back out of a deal because there's a broken window or the doorknob doesn't work. We're looking for major stuff. Does the furnace not work? Is the AC shot? Is the roof leaking? Those are the things that you can come back and say, hey, I'm going to need you to help me get these things fixed. You fix them. It becomes a negotiable thing at that point. But it's really important to know what you're buying. If you're going to spend $400,000, spend $500 on inspections. It's money well spent.
And you know, these are just some highlights of the contract that we hit. It's really important, and one of the things I like to do is go over the entire contract before you get into that situation where you're rushing to get an offer in. So I make sure either sellers or buyers that we've reviewed a blank contract up front with all of the elements that are important.
What Ken said is exactly right. So you're going to go out there and go home shopping. Maybe you find that perfect house on the first or second day. You don't want to be in a spot where you're going to have to spend 3-4 hours going over the contract if you need to get that offer submitted right away. So make sure that you hire a professional realtor that's going to go over the contract with you up front before it's time to write the contract.
So if you have any other questions out there real estate wise, please send them in to here. You can reach me at ken@ngbn.tv, and we're going to have your email up soon, garrett@ngbn.tv also. Send us your questions. We'd love to talk to you about it on the air, and we'll have more real estate for you here on Home Means Carson.
Thanks for watching.